are not the bad people. I vote Trump because he wants to help the people, but this is not right.
He wants to keep helping Latinos in the U.S. Let's do things the right way, and let's keep growing. Let's keep growing as a family, and let's make America great again.
Necesitamos a Trump. Let's make America great again.
A lot of Latinos, we stand strong next to President Trump. Let's make America great again. Let's go. I'm just happy we in good hands. I know this 4 years is going to be one hell of a run. I know he's going to do a lot of great things for the whole Spanish community. Especially, we're going to make America great again. I'm glad I give that vote to Mr. Trump, and me and Anuel AA are here supporting. Que viva Puerto Rico, and let's make America great again. Congratulations, President Trump.
We need you. We need you back, right?
You know who they are? Do you know who the hell they are?
Come up here, just fast, fellas, come on. Because I don't know if these people know who the hell you are. But it's good for the Puerto Rican vote. Nikki Jam, you know Nikki? She's hot.
Being from Miami, I don't know how to feel about Cubans being in their find out era. Because they took over Miami, and it was to the point where you couldn't even find a job unless you spoke Spanish. And even if you spoke Spanish and you wasn't Cuban, you wasn't getting that job. And I give them a lot of credit because before their family or friends would leave Cuba, they would already have a job, a car, and a place to stay by the time they reached Miami. And they really set up their people very, very well. They even had a wet foot, dry foot policy. Where they messed up at was thinking that they thought becoming a Republican was going to make them turn. And the whole time they're speaking Spanish. And a majority of them didn't even bother to learn English, but yet they thought they were. And my main question is, what is the difference between Fidel Castro and 45? Until then, yo voy a votar azúcar. We have the assimilation possibility for Latinx, Latin people is higher. People can come from other parts of Latin America, marry white, as like they're told to do, assimilate, and assume a white identity that black people cannot escape from. So they continue to vote in that way because to them, that's upward mobility. And unfortunately for us, success means being patted on the back. Not all of us, because y'all gonna go crazy on Twitter. I ain't got a Twitter, so it's okay. But they get the pat on the back from white people, and they feel like that's what being American is. And that colorism is real in our community. It is real.
The United States Supreme Court has authorized the Trump administration and given them the authority to deport undocumented immigrants to South Sudan and other unstable regions, even if they're not from those countries. This is breaking news, and it's extremely important to talk about this. As much as we want to talk about the war that's currently going on in Iran, whether or not that's going to turn into an all-out conflict, we need to talk about the majority conservative justices, with the liberal justices dissenting, allowing the Trump administration to deport Venezuelan, Colombian, Cuban, Nicaraguan individuals to South Sudan or other countries in turmoil if they feel like it. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, I believe is on the right side of history here, has kind of chided the court, and she's basically said that the conservative judges are authorizing the Trump administration and rewarding them with lawlessness, allowing them to deport people whose only violation here could be to be here undocumented without any papers, which, might I add, is a civil violation. It's not a criminal violation to be here without papers. It hasn't been prior to the Trump administration. It's never been considered a criminal issue. I need to be very clear here. The idea that the federal government can pick up a person because they're here, they've overstayed their visa, or because they crossed into the border and didn't have proper authorization, and disappear them to South Sudan, a country that has been on the brink and on the verge of entire collapse due to its long civil war, all sorts of issues that surround Sudan, and the breakage of South Sudan and a long civil war. Deport them there. People who don't even speak English, people who have no knowledge or understanding of Africa or South Sudan or anything related to that part of the world, send them there and leave them there for who knows how long. I mean, they might even disappear. I mean, this is a human rights violation. These are people who will be sent to South Sudan. We may never hear from these people again. We may never see them again. And they were authorized by the conservative justices of the Supreme Court to be sent to these places by the Trump administration. I cannot underscore how evil this is. Imagine you seeking a better life, come to the United States. Fine. You're here undocumented. You can issue a deportation order. You want to send them back to their country. That's fine. I understand that. But to send these people to a place like South Sudan or another lawless region that's willing to take them in, never see these people again, lose complete track or knowledge of where they are, is one of the most disgusting things I have seen in recent memory. This is terrible. And I want you to know something. If the Supreme Court has authorized and allowed the Trump administration to do this, they can authorize and allow to do it to you. You could be disappeared. You could be taken into custody, and you could lose all of your freedoms, because it is evident that the Supreme Court is now siding with everything this guy does. I don't mean to scare you, but I do think you should prepare for a moment when the government feels the authority and the encouragement and the confidence to take it to the next level and start perhaps arresting U.S. citizens on the basis of whatever they want to arrest them on. And I cannot underscore how worried you should be that our government has now been authorized the right to send people to an unknown, lawless, completely broken state like South Sudan. It's really still undergoing a civil war. It is in a complete crisis mode. And kind of get rid of those people indefinitely. I want to underscore here that the government's reasoning behind this clearly is cruelty, clearly is punishing people for coming to the United States. It's a way to punish them and to scare people and put them into fear mode. If that were not the case, they would be sending them to another location. We've seen them already do this with El Salvador, and we really don't know we really don't know where this is going. Now that the Supreme Court has authorized them to deport these individuals, I mean, at any moment, these people, undocumented immigrants here in the United States, could end up disappeared into Africa. Please follow the page. This is breaking news. I want you to remember that our Supreme Court did this. I want you to remember that the liberal justices on the court dissented. And I want you to remember how history will remember those that are okay with this and those that stood up and spoke out against it. I don't care what you voted for. There's no possible way you could have voted for the type of cruelty that we are seeing. And if you did, and if you are okay with this, then you have no ethics, you have no morals, and may God forgive you.
I just heard the news about the humanitarian protection being canceled. I hate that for the Nicaraguans, Venezuelans, and the Haitians. I love y'all. I'm from Fort Pierce. I love y'all to pieces, and I rock with y'all. Baby, whatever you need me to do, you let me know what I can do to help. But them Cubans from Miami, y'all can get the fuck out of here. You ain't never heard me talk about going to Miami to visit. All my family from that area is gone from Miami. The only time I go down there is to shop and eat. I don't fuck around with South Beach. I don't fuck around with Miami Cubans. They turn Florida red. They racist. And I tell every group of young kids, do not go down there supporting their business because they don't fuck around with y'all. They don't like us. To my Latins for Trump. Look what he couldn't have to a better group of people. Fuck y'all. Get the fuck on. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Alright, so in this video we are seeing American Cubans and of course Cubans who are undocumented. They are crying. Literally there's a huge population of Cubans in America. They came in, others came undocumented and others came in legally in the country. So those who don't have papers, they're freaking out, and of course those who have papers, definitely they're also freaking out because one or another they are directly or indirectly affected by this mass deportation that's happening. You know somebody, or maybe your family is affected, or maybe your neighbor is affected, or maybe at large you know someone who's affected as a result of this mass deportation. So what's happening? They are literally feeling betrayed. They are literally feeling bad because of what's happening, because they campaigned for the current administration to come into power because they look at themselves as white. They look like white. They do things like the white people, and of course everything to do with white, everybody wants to associate themselves in the Cuban community. Why? Because of the internalized colonization that they had back home, where they were taught through the media, through the community, that anything to do with white is good and anything to do with black is bad, and do not associate yourself with it. So right now they're turning back and they're wondering, why are they being punished? Why are they being mass deported? Why are they not enjoying the fruits of their labor after campaigning so strongly for this current administration? When they voted for the current administration in America, they forgot one thing. One, they're not white. Two, majority of their population, they are undocumented. Three, they thought this policy is going to affect other minorities group and not them. Why? Because they look like white. Why? They forgot in their mind that they are not really white. So right now they're freaking out, they're crying, they're recording themselves on social media, and they say, oh, they're feeling betrayed. Why is it happening to them? Why is our community being affected? And forgetting the fact that they voted for it. They are forgetting the fact that they campaigned for it. They forgot the fact that during the day of electing the current administration, they queued the line, they voted for it, and now they are crying because karma has come home. Karma is a bitch. So someone will say, you know, when they voted for this current administration, when they voted for these policies, because this current administration, when they voted, one of their pillars is they are going to do mass deportation of undocumented workers in America. That's what they did, and that's what they're doing right now. It's not like they hide it. They didn't hide it. They said it as it is. And still, the Cubans in Miami, in America, they still voted for it. In fact, they started singing songs. They stood on business and said, "This is what I'm standing for. This is what I am doing because the current administration is good for my community. It's good for my business. It's good for my people." That's what they used to say. And now, fast forward, they're crying, they're shedding tears, they're freaking out, and they're wondering who's going to be next, who's going to be deported among their community. In fact, right now they're calling out on other minorities, other black community, other Asian community, other Filipinos community, to assist them in terms of demonstration, to assist them in terms of, asking their Congress people so that this policy to be done away. When you're told, when you're voting, when you cast that vote wisely. When you're told, think twice before you make certain decisions because the consequences can be bad for you. This is it. Only time will tell. And I hope people learn from this experience, because the only people who are going to remove you from certain situation is yourself, is your community. So the community needs to come and internalize themselves, ask themselves these tough questions: why they voted the way they did, why they always have this negative thing of not wanting to associate themselves with anything to do with blackness. Why is it they voted the way they did? They need to ask themselves that question, because one, the whole administration, the current administration, they're one of the pillars. It was really against their community because of the mass deportation. Two, you're being told majority of the Miami is Cubans. Yes, majority of Miami population is Cuba. In fact, most people speak Spanish in Miami. And you're being told most Cubans, when they migrate to America, most of the time they're already set. They know where they're going to work. They're already set with a house. They're already given a job. They know that because there's a big population who are they're very good at networking. They're very good at having their diaspora in Cubans, getting jobs, getting assimilated back in America. Now, whatever is happening right now, who is to blame? Who is to blame? That's what Cubans need to ask themselves. Is it themselves, or is it other community? Who is to blame? That's the question they need to ask themselves. And then they need to do something about themselves. They need to ask themselves this question: what's going to happen the next election? Are they going to learn from this experience, or are they going to still bury their head in the sand? That's the question they need to ask themselves. All right, let me know what you think about this video, and then drop your comments and subscribe to my channel.